The Sgt. Pepper?
Sgt. Pepper. See, Paul McCartney told me that he liked Pet Sounds more than anything, and I said, "Oh, great, Paul, how could you? I'm so thrilled, you know." And he goes and he makes Sgt. Pepper, which I said we could never do that, you know, because he.
And today on another vinyl show, it's the Beatles Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Ike Frasier Industries presents another vinyl show with Ike Frasier. Hey everybody, it's your old pal Ike Frasier, and today, June 1st, is Sgt. Pepper's anniversary. Well, after John and Paul got done listening to that sound extravaganza right there, Pet Sounds, they knew they had to kick it into high gear this time. And I tell you what, I've had Pepper with me my whole life, basically, because my mom had a mono, so I listened to mono all through my childhood. Then was surprised whenever I got a stereo and heard what that sounded like. But in the US, we got this yellow stereo banner, and that lasted for a long time, probably till the late 70s, early 80s, before they got rid of that yellow stereo banner. This is a cardboard gut. And of course, back here, the phrasing on the American ones, if it has the Philippines listed on the back cover as one of EMI's territories, it's a second pressing cover. That's really cool. But also, I wanted to say in this video, despite the fact that, you know, I love Pepper and Pet Sounds, like it's hard to pick between it, even though that, you know, I go through definite spells where it's probably 90% Pet Sounds and 10% Pepper, because I've heard it so much and I love it, but I don't, you know, regard it like many people do as the best Beatles record. But if you got the anniversary edition, which was really great, and I thought of all the remixes, that one right there, the 2017 Giles Martin mix, and this is the double, which is getting tougher to find, but I really wanted those outtakes. And this is going to take us off on a tangent right there, but Pepper, being the first of the big deluxe editions, was full of where the problems weren't even fixed until the Let It Be release, right? Because Pepper did not have any vinyl mono box. This was as close as you got to it, the 2 LP Pepper, which it's great, it sounds great, all the bonus tracks are great. But this right here, I don't know how many of you guys got that one, but it has the 3D slip-over cover, which is pretty sweet. And then when it's the first of the reissues to have the, oh gosh, the big EMI tape box. That's really cool, and it's really sweet. And then it's got a drawstring, so you don't hurt yourself pulling out the contents. And you open that up, you think, oh, well, there is a Pepper in there. What are you talking about, Ike? Well, I tell you, when you pull it out, it's a really cool thing. There it is, your Sgt. Pepper on that. But, whoops. It's the CDs on the inside of that cover, so that's really cool. They got DVD in there and the Blu-ray, but these are really great. Some of the speeds probably should have been put back before they gave them as bonus tracks, that way they wouldn't sound so sped up and squirrely. But each of the CDs has like a alternate picture from the cover shoot, so those are really awesome right there. It's a really great set. You really can't say anything bad about it, except that it did not come out on vinyl. And there's a big reproduction of the EMI poster in there. That's really cool. Because remember, the Beatles are Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. There's a reproduction of the Mr. Kite poster in there. That's pretty sweet, which we'll see that in the video here in just a minute. So stay tuned for the Pepper video. And of course it comes with a insert for you right there, because you can't have Sgt. Pepper without your insert. Then it comes with a monster hardbound book in here. And there's your EMI tape box cover. That's so cool. But that book that's in there, wow, it's really something. It's got a lot of great pictures in there, and of course the inner sleeve by The Fool, who made a cover for Sgt. Pepper, I think, that's in here, that of course got rejected. But this is a really great book, full of information and original written lyrics. Of course, lots of Paul McCartney interviews in this. It's a really great set. So if you ever are able to get your hands on one of these, I highly recommend it, because it's a great listening experience, and you really get deep, deep, deep into the layers of Pepper, which is really the only record that they really made like that, to where they had to jigsaw piece it together. Not quite like Smile, but jigsaw piece it together with the layers and how the orchestration is going to go in there. But on these versions, what year was that? The 2017 reissue there. Like the fixing the whole background vocals really pop out. And even though I had the mono version my whole life, and then even a stereo one just to hear what the differences were, they pop out of here like nobody's business. I mean, it's a really great set. You should do yourself a favor and either get the Sgt. Pepper double or get the Sgt. Pepper single if you can. It's going to be more affordable. They're still available, these, I believe. But it really sounds great. I love Sgt. Pepper. I think it's a great album. I know you guys out there love it too. And tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you got the box set, because it's really cool. There's a lot of stuff on there. As we said before, you see all that extra bonus material that never made it onto vinyl. So by the time they got to the Let It Be box, everything that was on CD was also on vinyl, which was not true for Sgt. Pepper. Still a great set, but not a vinyl. Like, I thought about just slipping the single version into this box set, because then you'd at least have Pepper on vinyl with the box set, with the new mix, which, again, sounds incredible. I think it's the best thing that they've done of all the remixes, solo or together as the Beatles. So tell me what you guys think. Tell me which remixes you love, which remixes you don't love, and give us a like out there if you want to watch these fun time videos here that we do. And you're more than welcome to subscribe. Like I say, we use all the help we can get out here. And I'm Ike Frasier, and I hope you enjoy our anniversary episode on Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Thank you guys. We'll see you soon. Capitol Records needed some Beatle product, and Brian Epstein was also worried about that new quartet, the Monkees, with a debut album #1 in the US and UK and a second album #1 in the US and UK. Brian Epstein contacts Sir George Martin and says, I need a hot single. George Martin says, well, I got 2 great tracks with Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, so those are released in February 1967, breaking the Beatles' run at #1 in the UK, only going to 2, and #1 in the US. Paul McCartney says of Pepper,
something like Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, which is one of the tracks on it, was actually just taken off a poster that John had in his house. And Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was read as being an LSD thing, just because conveniently it said LSD. It actually was a picture that Julian, John's son, brought home from school, and when John said, what's that? It's like all little kids' drawings. There was a sort of a star up at the top somewhere, and then a couple of people. And this girl floating, and he said, it's Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. And John said, that's a great title. We just wanted to do something different. I think we did it.
Ringo Starr says,
it's a fine album, but I did learn to play chess on it, because I'd have so much spare time, you know. We'd do the basic track, and then we'd put other stuff on, and then the percussion would be overdubbed later.
George Harrison, the quiet Beatle.
I had a few moments in there that I enjoyed, but generally I didn't really like that album much. Hard work, you know, it was a job. It was like doing something I didn't really want to do. I was losing interest in being fab at that point.
John Lennon.
It's called the first concept album. It doesn't go anywhere. Mr. Kite, all my contributions have absolutely nothing to do with this idea of Sgt. Pepper and his band. But it works, because we said it worked, and that's how it appeared.
Sir George Martin.
Although they did what they wanted to do, they weren't setting themselves up as being prophets or anything, or trying to change the face of nature. They just wanted to go into the studio and make their kind of music. Simple as that. They got fed up with touring. They've been, by this time, in the end of '66, I'd known them for 4 years, and they'd been working their pants off all over the world, going from one concert to another, to a television show, to a radio, hotel rooms after hotel rooms, and they were prisoners of their fame. And they got really fed up with it, and so they said, well, we're not going to do it anymore. We're definitely not going to do it anymore. We're going to just make music instead. And we can spend time making the kind of music we want to make, not just a simple little 2-minute pop boiler that we can perform in front of hordes of screaming kids. They'd always written, up to that time, music which could be performed. Yeah. Suddenly they realized they could write music which just couldn't be performed. I love She's Leaving Home, although I didn't do the score, and I think it's a terrific song. I suppose the one I'm most proud of is being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, because I really was part of putting that together as a collage, all the circus noises, and that really worked, and I was very, very happy about that. But I think it's an icon. It's one of those things that happened at a particular time which summed up the generation. It really represented what young people were about, and it became, I don't know, just like anything else, just became something that people will always remember.
The cover. Here's artist Peter Blake.
Well, the original was made by making lists, choosing photographs, having them blown up and sticking them to plywood and cutting them out. So it's a very laborious process.
Removed from the cover, Gandhi and naughty John Lennon said Hitler. But we have here some cover shots and the alternate drum head from Sgt. Pepper, and the boys at the entrance of Brian Epstein's place for the Sgt. Pepper launch party, which was a great success and probably one of the first ever listening parties for a new studio album by a band. So another trend that the Beatles most likely started. Number 1 in the UK, where it was released May 26th, 1967. Incredible, because the due date was supposed to be June, but they moved it to May to get that out. Number 1 in the United States. And of course, there's a capital ad right there telling you all the great things about Sgt. Pepper's packaging. An incredible success. Here's the mono number, MAS 2653. John Lennon says, if you've ever heard Pepper, and if you never heard it in mono, you never heard it. Well, here's the mono right here, and the original mono pressings have a little help from my friends instead of with a little help, and the same goes for first pressing stereos, as we see a regular stock stereo with the correct title. In the US and the UK, they both came with the cool printed inner sleeves and the Sgt. Pepper cutouts, and the lyrics on the back cover. Paul McCartney says,
It was like you were making it for us, our crowd. I thought it was great. I thought it was a huge advance. I was very pleased because the newspapers, the musical papers, had been saying recently, a month or two before, what are the Beatles up to? Drying up, I suppose. And so it was nice making an album like Pepper, thinking, yeah, drying up, that's that. I suppose that's right, yeah. So it was lovely to have that on them, you know. When it came out, I was... loved it. I kind of had a party, you know, sort of celebrate. That weekend was a bit of a party, as I recall. And, you know, I remember getting lots of telegrams, as I say, from people. It was obvious people knew it. And the biggest single sort of tribute for me was that it was released on the Friday. And on the Sunday, we went to the Savile Theatre, which Brian Epstein rented on the Savile, and ran some rock shows, because nothing ever happened on the Sunday. And Jimi Hendrix opened with Sgt. Pepper, and he'd only had since the Friday to learn it.
Number 1 in 8 countries around the world. Happy anniversary to the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper. Thanks for watching, everybody.